What is up, guys, and welcome to the 18th round of the F1 2016 Career Mode Championship. We're here for the US Grand Prix. You can see we are quite visibly catching Red Bull in the drivers, but also in the constructors' standings as well, but it is getting very, very tight. We're going to push on with the upgrades that we're trying to manifest at the moment. I'm still tossing up what I'm going to do next in terms of the next upgrade. I think it's going to be downforce or potentially even the weight reduction, but now we're into Friday practice, once again grinding away with those resource points. The pace at this racetrack, I said it at the end of the last episode, it's always a bit wishy-washy, but hopefully in the Mercedes, we've had a fresh engine upgrade in the last episode, so hopefully we can be fairly competitive at this racetrack. So Friday practice coming to an end now. I think we're way down the order in terms of long-running pace, and that's always the case at most racetracks on this game. But when we get to qualify, well, the qualifying pace, then our true kind of performance really starts to shine through. Coming to the end of our most competitive lap, and at the moment it puts us in position 8, only 8 tenths away from the pace setter of Sebastian Vettel. So, not too bad. Vettel was on the soft compound tyres, we were on the super softs, but I'll take it. The pace is a little bit better than what it normally is in Friday practices, so I'll take it.
We're expecting qualifying to start any minute here in Austin, Texas, where drivers will be hoping to top the timesheets today and be ready for tomorrow's US Grand Prix.
Okay, you should be able to get into the next qualifying session easily, so try to get a hot lap in early so we can save the tyres.
So here we are then for qualifying for the US Grand Prix, and we just had a brief look at the weather forecast over the course of the weekend, and it's set to rain again. I don't know how long this has been running on for, but it seems like every weekend we have some kind of interruptions with weather. And given our current momentum, our current pace in wet weather conditions, I'm going to embrace the rain once again. But here we are for qualifying one, going out right at the start of the session. I've been dreadful in previous episodes in terms of qualifying pace and just getting myself out of those early qualifying sessions. So I wanted to minimize the risk, get a lap in early, make sure it was a good one, and fair enough. First lap got us 10th place in qualifying one, so it was nice and relieving to get out of that first part of qualifying without any dramas, without any issues. We're on to qualifying 2 now, and we might have some spits of rain potentially at the end of the session. We may well possibly have rain in qualifying 3. I did ask the engineer just before going out at the start of the session, and it's likely to happen in about 15 minutes time. Ricardo sets a purple lap of 134.0. We'll see what we can do on this lap now. We're only running with the U set that we used in qualifying 1. I just want to get as many laps as I can in these qualifying sessions, just build up my pace and make sure that I'm getting the most out of the car and I'm not rushing through qualifying too much, which I might have been guilty of in the previous episode. First lap is over, 136.1, 2.1 seconds away from Ricardo's best time at the moment, so that's definitely going to need to be improved as we head on to the end of the session now. Brand new set of super soft tyres. We go purple to the first sector, so that's exactly what we want to see when trying to get ourselves into qualifying 3 for the first time in God knows how long. Into the middle sector now. We're a tenth and a half up inside front lockup as we head into the middle sector, and this lap looks fairly tidy. A few lockups here and there, but they haven't really cost me any time at all. As we come to the final corner, we are now 5.5 tenths up. Bit of oversteer through the final corner, and we go position 4. Only, well, it's only 8 tenths away, but man, I thought I'd be closer than that considering I was P4. But there we go. We're through to qualifying 3, and there's still even more time to find, I must say, because the laps are strung together at the moment. They're still nowhere near perfect, so with a good lap, I feel like we could be at least within half a second of Red Bull.
We've seen at least 20 minutes of light rain.
Okay, so apparently the rain has already started falling down here at the start of qualifying 3. I wanted to make sure I got out as early as possible. It looks like I might not be one of the first cars to set a time. Hulkenberg goes P1 with a 138.0. 4 seconds away from the best times in qualifying 2, so I'm going to hazard a guess to say that the track is nowhere near its ideal condition at the moment. We are 3.2 seconds down on Sebastian Vettel on our first lap so far. So the track is just absolutely dreadful at the moment. You can see there's light spits of rain here and there, but even though it doesn't look heavy or it doesn't look too wet, it's the track conditions are just so bad, and the tires work within such a very small window that it's so hard to find that optimal grip. And just when there's just a little bit of moisture in the air, the car just feels absolutely dreadful. But coming through the final corner now, I don't have any high hopes for this lap. We were the last to set a lap in qualifying 3, 4.7 seconds off, and the track only got worse from there. So that was it. That was the end of our session. Didn't do any favors by being the last to get out there and set a time, but yeah, what can you do? Sebastian Vettel gets pole, Hulkenberg in second, our teammate in third, and the Red Bulls are nowhere. They're 5th and 6th, some 2 seconds off. So that was a really weird session. Just whoever would have got out first would have got pole position, and Vettel has capitalized. So we've got an interesting grid for this US Grand Prix. It's good that the Red Bulls are down the order. It gives me a great chance of beating him in the race.
In 2012, America's on-again, off-again love affair with Formula One finally seemed to settle down with the completion of this wonderful racing facility here in Texas. Since then, we've been treated to some incredible races, including, of course, that classic wet-dry championship decider of 2015.
It's race time then for the US Grand Prix. Looking at the race strategy, well, actually, let's hang on a second. Let's divert our attention away from that and look at the weather forecast, because we've got some light rain followed by heavy rain towards the back end of this race. That is definitely going to make things interesting. How soon that rain is going to come, that remains to be seen. We may well throw our entire race strategy out the window with that weather.
The radar is showing light rain arriving in 5 minutes time. 5 minutes.
Okay, so 5 minutes, that is very, very early on in this race. So you can never really trust the forecast before the start of the race. It's normally accurate as to what happens, but there's never really a designated time zone of when that weather will hit. So you've always got to keep your options open, and hopefully that weather will hit just before we need to make that pit stop onto potentially a new set of tyres. So hopefully we can stretch that out as long as possible. The guys who are on the soft compound tyres, they're going to be best suited to making that switch onto the intermediate tyres without making their first stop. So 5 red lights, and away we go for the US Grand Prix. We are starting down the order a little bit, but it's nothing in comparison to the previous race in Japan. Heading into turn 1 now, let's see if we can get in front of the Haas F1 cars, who have done very well to make it through to qualifying 3, I must say. Verstappen is gone on the exit of turn 1, so that's, wow, again, Verstappen has been taken out or has just got involved in some kind of incident at turn 1 again. It's like he doesn't want to win this championship. He's thrown it away once again. I don't know who he made contact with, whether it was his teammate Daniel Ricciardo. We're not too sure. We might have to bring up a replay later on in the video. But heading on to lap 2 now, we're trying to make some inroads on the guys in front of us. We know we are quicker than 7th place, which we are in at the moment. I want to get closer to my teammate if I can, but we're stuck behind a Force India train here involving Hulkenberg, Ricciardo and Perez, who we got very close to on the run into that left-hander. Very lucky to avoid a bit of contact there, but setting purple sectors, it is only the second lap of course, but it is good signs to see that we are catching cars instead of leaving a massive gap to the cars in front of them. Wow, okay, that's a dive bomb for the ages heading into that left-hander, but honestly, I wasn't looking to make an overtake there. I was just looking to, brake really late and make some inroads on Perez, but we made the move already, and now we're making moves on Ricciardo and Hulkenberg. That's 3 positions in the space of about 10 seconds, and I will take that. Next up is Kimi Räikkönen. He's a few seconds up the road, so it's going to take a bit of catching to get onto the back of his rear diffuser, but we head on to the end of lap 3 now, and here comes Ricciardo. He's having a little watching brief as we head up into turn 1, but the focus surely is going to be on keeping Ricciardo behind and just trying to make up those positions as the race goes on before that rain starts to hit. But it's been a great start so far in front of both the Red Bulls. Verstappen is down the order. If things finish as they are at the moment, then we're going to be right in this championship fight and really putting pressure on Red Bull.
The light rain should be arriving very shortly.
Okay, so we're just pretty much waiting now for that imminent rain to hit. The clouds are very threatening. It's getting quite dark here, but we're getting to the end of our first stint here. I think the recommended stop is around lap 6, 7, or maybe even 8 if you can really stretch it out before your tyres start to puncture. But yeah, we're getting to that critical number, and we may see some of the AI cars starting to dive in to follow their recommended strategy. But anyone who dives in this early on in the race is really just going to be throwing away track position, because it's, oh wow, here we go. Cars are coming in already and it's not raining yet. So these guys are switching on to either another set of super soft tyres or they're switching onto the soft. So like I said, anyone coming in now is throwing away track position because the rain is just so tantalizingly close to coming down. But Ricciardo switches onto the soft compound tyres right as I see some rain spitting now.
We're seeing cars struggle in these conditions. If we pit for inters now, we're going to be too slow and we'll burn them out. Make the best of it for the time being.
So we're in a bit of a tricky situation here. The rain is starting to patter down now, very lightly at the moment, but the tyres are really getting to the end of their working life here. So we're really having to risk it here for the chocolate biscuit. We're getting into that dangerous phase where tyre punctures are going to become a thing, and well, the track condition isn't really at its best either. So this is the time for crashes to happen, and there's one right there at the exit of turn 1. Verstappen has got involved as well. Hamilton is out, potentially with some front wing damage. I think it was caused by a Sauber and also a Williams car, but once again, Red Bull getting involved in incidents when they really can't afford to in this massive championship fight that we're having at the moment. All the momentum in the last 4 or 5 Grand Prix has been massively in my favour, whether it be really awesome strategies, my pace, or just bad luck or bad decisions from Red Bull. Everything seems to be going in my favour, and that trend continues in today's US Grand Prix. And I think we might be thinking about potentially on this lap, maybe the next lap. We're taking it on a lap-by-lap basis now, as to whether we're going to switch to the intermediate tyres. Raikkonen decides he's had enough, he can't stay out any longer on his super soft tyres, and he goes on to another set of the super softs. But Alonso, the only other person apart from myself to stay out this long before making a stop while starting on the super soft tyres. I don't know if he qualified inside the top 10, so his tyres might be a little fresher than mine, but there's Lewis Hamilton making his stop just after making his first stop. He got tangled up in that turn 1 incident with the Red Bull and also the Sauber and the Williams. So a lot of people having a pretty average race, and we're only 8 laps into this US Grand Prix. It looks like this point now might be the crossover point.
Try shifting up the gears a little sooner. This should help us save some fuel.
Yeah, cheers for that, Jeff. I think fuel conservation is the last thing on my mind at the moment. With the crossover point, with Alonso catching me, my tyre's absolutely dead. We're going to be coming in at the end of this lap as well. The engineer did suggest a switch onto the intermediate tyres, so now is the time to react. And now we essentially have the lead of the race. I think no one else is on the intermediate tyres yet, but I think everyone is coming in now for that strategy change. And Alonso follows me in, so does Wehrlein, Raikkonen, one of the Renaults as well, who I believe is Jolyon Palmer. So he's played himself in really well here with a good strategy, starting possibly on the soft compound tyres. Getting to that window with the inters without having to make a stop is really going to throw up a lot of winners and losers in this US Grand Prix. Lap 9 now, and the only guys in front of us are the people who are still out on dry tyres. So Daniel Kvyat, Rio Haryanto, and one other driver as well. Potentially Max Verstappen. He did start on the soft compound tyres. No, it is Kevin Magnussen. As we come through the final corner and onto the start-finish straight to start lap 10, we now take the lead of the US Grand Prix once again. This time though, we have a bit more of a lead. I don't know what happened to Alonso, whether he had a lengthy first pit stop, whether he had a crash or a spin or something like that, but now we have a virtual safety car on lap 11 here, and that just calms things down, allows me to have a think about what I'm going to do for the back end of this race, allowed me to save a little bit of fuel as well. We are down to 1.15 laps down on fuel, and that number is also coming down as well. Jenson Button now is out of this Grand Prix, and I'm really hoping at this point that there's no safety car, because now we've got ourselves into the lead. We're way ahead of our rivals, ahead of the Red Bulls, ahead of Lewis Hamilton as well. The only person who can really challenge us potentially is Raikkonen, and he's 12 seconds back. So in these intermediate conditions, we are absolutely flying at this stage, just romping away from the rest of the field. All the quick guys are down the order and potentially battling with traffic. Carlos Sainz is out of the race now, and let's have a look at what happened to the Spanish driver. He's got an engine failure heading into the middle sector straight there. So unfortunate that we've had so many retirements in this middle part of the race. Another virtual safety car came out. Thankfully it wasn't the full course safety car, otherwise we could have said Hasta la vista to our entire race lead there. But now we're coming in for a set of wet tyres. We knew that the wet weather was coming. The heavy rain was coming towards the back end of the race. And I did ask the engineer. He said it was coming in about 5 minutes time. So I decided to take the gamble and pit for wets while we were under yellow flags. I essentially got away with a free pit stop there. But for the next lap and a half, 2 laps, I'm probably going to have to battle away on a track that isn't ideally suited to the wet weather tyres at the moment. So my race now is essentially on trying to keep Kimi Räikkönen behind me for as long as I can. We go side by side into this middle sector. He has the inside. There's wheel-to-wheel contact, and I'm just battling to keep the car in a straight line, to be honest, let alone keep the lead of this US Grand Prix. But we hold the inside. Räikkönen is hung out to dry, and we hold on for the moment. 10 laps to go in this race now, and Räikkönen is really starting to pile on the pressure now. I've just got absolutely no grip in these conditions. A bad run on the exit of turn 1 sees Räikkönen capitalise and move into the lead, but he's overdone the middle sector there, on the middle part of the S section, and he loses the lead once again. That was Räikkönen's chance to strike. He didn't take it. We got him back around the outside, and we moved back into the lead of this race once again. Now, we have Räikkönen coming into the pits again for what I can only assume is a set of wet tyres. You wouldn't come into the pits and put on a set of intermediate tyre. He's done it. He's coming into the pits for intermediate tyres when the heavy rain is only minutes away.
15 minutes till we see this heavy rain ease up into light rain.
So, oh man, that's crazy. Once again, the AI have they can't stretch out their stints long enough to make it to the critical lap number or to the critical moment where the conditions change and they can get away with one less stop. The AI just can't manage to just stretch out their tyres just a little bit longer, and it's really costing them over these last few Grand Prix. Look at me sliding on the exit of turn 2 there. That was just mental. The track conditions still aren't quite there for wet tyres yet, and I'm still making this work. Okay. The engineer doesn't want to give me the weather report. That's great. I didn't want it anyway.
This downpour will last for another 10 minutes. Then we expect conditions will transition to light rain.
Okay, so I've just been checking up with the engineer over the last, few minutes, just making sure that we are on the right strategy, like the full wet tyres are suited to the conditions. But as you saw there, Räikkönen, he made his stop just a few laps ago. He caught up to me again because the heavy rain took so long to arrive, to the point where Räikkönen actually caught me again, but it really started to downpour in the last minute or so. And so when he caught me, he had to switch on to wet. So it just got very, very scary there over the last minute or two because Räikkönen was catching me at 3 or 4 seconds a lap, and I was already committed to the strategy I was on anyway. So I was just really holding out and making sure that my wet tyre strategy was going to come good for me in the end there. But I guess that threat from Räikkönen is now over. This is the squabble over third place, by the way. That was Pascal Wehrlein getting in front of Jolyon Palmer for third place. So we almost had 2 podiums in 2 races for the Renaults, but unfortunately it wasn't to be today. And that's the Grand Prix. In the end there, we made the right strategy calls at the right time. We started down in 10th place, got caught out by the rain on Saturday, but Sunday the rain really has played into our favour, and now we've got so much time in our pocket to celebrate. I'm just doing some burnouts, just putting the car to its absolute limits in terms of rear traction, and just getting a bit of a slide on, to be honest, just having a bit of fun through the final few corners and giving the crowd something to cheer about. So we're going to comprehensively win this US Grand Prix. I'm going to do something I've never done before, and that is reverse over the line. Because why not? We've got that much of a buffer over Kimi Räikkönen. We may as well celebrate in style, but as we come up to the line, that was very, very close. But we just survive, and we just win the US Grand Prix.
And here are our podium drivers today after that excellent race. They've excelled here, as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes, then, are on top today. We see a new...
Are you joking me? After 53 minutes worth of racing, I thought, let's have a little bit of fun over the line. Let's do a cheeky reverse over the line to win in style. That almost made me look very, very silly at the last few meters of that race. I did not intend on that race finishing that close between myself and Räikkönen. I could have done that like a million times over and not get the same results. But let's have a look at this in the replay once again. At this point, I was crapping myself. Absolutely crapping myself to see that Raikkonen was closing me in at a vast rate of knots. I was just hoping that that finish line would just hurry up and get towards me. Because at this point, yeah, I was just really crapping myself and really hoping that I got over the line before Raikkonen did. I actually got my rear of the car over the line before Raikkonen did, but I think maybe the transponder in the car is right in the middle, so that almost made me look very, very silly. But in the end, a win is a win, and I will take it. I think Nigel Mansell says, you know, if the good drivers will win by the smallest of margins, and you honestly can't get any closer than finishing at the exact same time. I think maybe the game gave me the win because it sympathized with me or something like that, but that's the most outrageous thing I have ever done in an F1 game, and I don't even want to try and topple that display of driving right there. That has been the US Grand Prix, and in that we have moved to the top of the Drivers' Championship. How did that happen? Honestly, how has this actually happened? Because at one stage in the championship, we were over 100 points behind Max Verstappen, and now we have drawn level with him, and Max Verstappen's championship could well and truly be over now after his non-points finish today. Red Bull just have no momentum. They have absolutely nothing going for them at the moment. We're catching them in the development race, and they just can't seem to keep it clean at the moment. I think in the end, Max Verstappen actually made contact with his teammate on lap 1 on the first corner, and that was his race essentially over. Never got back through the field and never even looked like being competitive. Just absolutely mental how much the momentum has swung in the last 5 or 6 races to the point where I think we might have this championship sewn up. It's a pretty bold statement to say, only drawing level now, but with only 3-ish races to go, maybe 2, I just don't see Red Bull winning it. They can't keep it together at the moment, but we'll have to wait and see. That has been the US Grand Prix. Sorry about my antics on that last lap. I did not intend for it to be that close, but these things happen sometimes. Let's endeavor to never do that again and just win races without being too much of an idiot. Let's do that. Let's make sure that never happens again. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more F1 game videos. The next track on the calendar will be the Mexican Grand Prix. Once again, I'm not too sure how the pace is going to be there, but I'm going to hopefully be as competitive as humanly possible, and we'll see what the next twist in this championship is. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until the next video, I'll see you guys next time.